CTTB Music Podcast.
Let's try harder. See me after class.
Okay, are we recording? I can see the little things wiggling. Yes. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Actually, yes. That's that sound.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a sound that was very familiar in our first podcast.
Indeed.
A mere 10 years ago, I believe, Peter.
10 years. 10 years.
Yeah. Can you remind the one person that's still listening what we actually reviewed back then?
I can. Do you know what? Ingrained as it is on the mind. And I remember the unique thing about this particular podcast was, didn't we do it in 3 parts? More along.
Yes, and each part we were more and more pissed because we'd mistakenly thought that the key to our brilliance was to...
drinking.
Yes, to basically do what we do normally, which is go to the pub and drink and talk rubbish.
Yeah.
We thought, if we do that,
We'll do that.
and record it,
Yeah.
that's going to turn out great.
Genius.
It was certainly long.
It was long.
Yeah.
So you did a lot of editing back in
I
those
did a lot of
days.
editing, yes. So according to this, the first podcast went live on November the 19th. I can tell you it was probably recorded about a month before, if I recall right.
I thought it was early November, actually.
My attempts to kind of tidy it up and cut bits out, and then clearly we decided that maybe just concentrating and not drinking and doing the drinking after the podcast might be a preferable way of doing the podcast.
Yes, so let me delve deep into my mind to recall what we did actually review on that very first podcast. Echo and the Bunnymen was in there with Fountain, the Flaming Lips.
Yeah, that was shocking. I remember.
Embryonic. We didn't like that, did we?
No.
See,
it was the follow up to the 2 albums before that. They were
brilliant.
Really, really good, and that came out and it was like, ooh, arse disappearing up time.
Yeah. Do you know, even now I recall that. The editors in This Light On This Evening, I do remember liking a lot at the time.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah. I can still picture the artwork as well, which is sort of it was kind of like a Twilight scene, but it's kind of painted. It was really nice. Look it up, Google it.
Yeah, they'd gone on kind of who was everybody sounding like back then for a period? New Order, not New Order.
Not New Order. Joy Division. Yeah, it was very Joy Division. Anyway, Shakira, She-Wolf.
That wasn't very Joy Division.
That was not Joy Division.
I actually have no recollection of that album at all.
No.
The other ones all of the other ones I do have a vague recollection of. That not
no. Flaming Lips I remember bad. Editor's good. And Chris Christopherson, Close to the Bone. Now, tell me, you've been listening to this one recently?
I did, yes. Totally by accident. I'd totally forgotten it was the review then, but it just, a Chris Christopherson song came up on Shuffle a few weeks back, and I went, oh, that's off the Close to the Bone album. I remember quite liking that. I listened to it, and it's still a pretty good record, actually. Yeah? Still a pretty good record.
Very good record.
So clearly, the easy thing to do would be to re-review those albums. But no.
Did you? No. I didn't.
Yeah, why bother? Why bother?
I barely got this lot out.
So apparently, the top 5 albums in our in the albumoftheyear.com combined aggregate list from the critics that year was Animal Collective was the number 1 album with Merryweather Post Pavilion, Grizzly Bear with Vec Atomist, number 2, Phoenix with Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix at number 3, Yes, it's Blitz at number 4, and Dirty Projector's Bitwalker at number 5.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
If you had a listen, Pete.
No. I mean, I remember the Yes, it's Blitz from again, it was just everywhere that year.
Yeah, it was a great album.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Really great album.
I don't remember much. Much else.
I don't remember much.
What year is it again? 2009.
Oh.
Yeah. What a year that was.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I gave this a quick listen during the week, and it's just like Animal Collective, the Grizzly Bear album and the Dirty Projectors album, to a degree, are all very similar kind of records. They're all part of that. What's the word I'm looking for? chamber folk rock pop
There was a lot.
thing. There was a low anthem and people like that around at the same time.
I remember, now you say it, there was a lot of bands around that time. So the more we ruminate on 2009, the more my mind's now slipping backwards. There were a lot of bands like that at that time.
Yeah, it's They're all. Like I said, I didn't. Funny enough, I don't think we've ever reviewed Animal Collective. We've certainly reviewed Grizzly Bear since. And I think the album that we reviewed of theirs was very good. This one was fine. Animal Collective one was also fine. And I remembered a couple of tracks off it, actually. The one that was most interesting of the five, because the Phoenix album is a great record, and the AES album, he said, it still stands up brilliantly, actually. It's really, really, really great record.
Yep.
Was Dirty Projectors, who I thought, who? Because that was the one where I thought, okay, no idea. This was actually their fifth album, so it's like, shit. Sorry, Dirty Projectors. And they also, they worked with Bjork and David Byrne and various other people, so it's like, all he's the main guy that does the writing for them. So it's not like just some weird people that never got involved anyway. But actually, probably the most interesting record of the five. So in some ways, it was kind of shame I didn't hear it at the time, because it might have been quite interesting to have reviewed it way back when. It's probably the only one that of the lot that I'm probably like to go back to. Well, I listened to Phoenix and the AES ones anyway, but the Dirty Projector. No, I listened to the AES one a lot.
Yeah.
I remember buying it.
I think we've got it at home.
Yeah. But the Dirty Projector one's actually well worth checking out. It's kind of a bit odd, but odd in a good way, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But
right. That was a trip down memory lane that's depressed the hell out of me.
Yeah. Moving forward, and yet at the same time backwards. To the podcast, the last podcast we were meant to do in September.
Yes. We'll try harder next year.
Yeah. We did, for again, those for paying attention, we did flag up sort of what we were going to review. So I'll remind that for you, and we can see how we go. So, Slipknot, We Are Not Your Kind. Ride, This Is Not a Safe Place. Sleater-Kinney, The Centre Won't Hold. Haku Salu, The General. Frank Turner, No Man's Land, and the Holsteady Thrashing Through the Passion. Rock!
It's a lot of rock.
Rock, Pete, rock!
Not rock. So,
amazingly, we've never really reviewed Slipknot before.
And
is there a reason for that?
There might be. You'll have to tell me, because amazingly, I still haven't.
Is it,
Yeah, no, I only had 3 months to do this.
It's Slipknot. It's basically what I would say. So, my very short review of this would be catchy chorus. Catchy chorus. See Unsainted, Neo 40, Orphan, etc. on the album for details.
Yeah.
To be fair to them, it's not quite that predictable. But it is. You do kind of get what you expect to get from a Slipknot album. And, they do Slipknot very well, I'm going to say. Is
it still the same band? It's still the same makeup?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And also there's a track on the album called Solway Firth, which I thought was well worth a thumbs up. I'm thinking not many people write a piece of music about that divide between Scotland and England.
No. A divide that has just got bigger.
Yeah.
That was a political reference, folks.
So yeah, I sort of enjoyed it. Although the more it went on, the more I was it kind of reminded me of Faith No More, and I was thinking, ooh, maybe I should
what are they up to?
Yeah, maybe I should listen to Faith No More. Which in some ways is not great. Which in some ways is not a great thing for an album to remind you of somebody else, and then you want to go listen to somebody else.
Yes.
But I've always thought Slipknot to a certain extent were a substandard Faith No More. So sorry, Slipknot fans. But actually, yeah, seriously, I could have done with it being a bit shorter because it goes on for over an hour, and there's a song called My Pain towards the end, and I was starting to feel some pain as we were progressing to the hour mark. But yeah, kind of does what it says on the Slipknot tin, really. So, was it right?
Wonderful.
Indie.
Yeah.
Ride.
I know.
Yeah, Ride, who, were around when I was just a lad.
Yeah. This is old indie.
As I say. Yeah. Shoegaze indie, in fact.
Yeah. This is like proper indie when indie was indie.
Yeah.
Indie.
Yeah, Spencer spent an inordinate amount of time when we were at university just trying to convince me that the first album was a work of genius and not just boring old shite.
I had a roommate at university who tried that on me as well.
I basically stuck with the fact that it was boring old shite, but there you go.
Me too.
That's just me. Anyway, this is their 6th studio album. Okay?
Are they all back together as well?
Pretty much, I think. Yeah.
Okay. A couple of them went off and formed the rather excellent Hurricane Number 1.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I think the
one album, I think.
I think the main guy that went off that fell out with the other guy is now back with the guy. Yeah, so I think it is, classic Ride.
And I'm sure one of them ended up in Oasis at some point as well.
I think one of them's definitely played with Liam, I think.
Yeah, probably. Whatever's going on there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Right, that's diversion. What did I think?
Is it any good, though, Bing?
Is it any good, though? Yeah, I liked it. I like this one.
Yeah?
I thought it was... Maybe I'm craving for some old school indie,
Oh, we always crave for some...
We're always craving some old school indie. So it's funny how you mentioned it, how Ride we used to sort of both think, well, this is boring old shite. But actually, repackaged and resurfaced 20-odd years later, you're like, oh, this is good.
How refreshing.
How refreshing. And it is probably no different to how it was. No, it's a compliment, bear with me. So I thought what I really liked about this was reminiscent of indie, of the old days, the glory days, I've written here on my notes. Oh dear, when did I write this? I particularly thought the opening was good. I really like the blistering. I think the title, the sort of track, it's not a title track, the track called Ride.
See, I quite like that. Yeah, so that's quite funny because in my notes, whilst I was reminiscing about my hatred of their original output, I was thinking, my first thing was, and it's not getting any better with this substandard my bloody Valentine opening.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like the My Bloody Valentine. Blistering instrumentals that pop up throughout the album, whether in full or in part of another track, I quite liked. And Smiles at the Resurrection. The drums on Kill Switch, the shoegazing of Clouds of Saint Marie. It even has a shoegazing title.
It does.
You can't take that away from it. So as you're probably guessing, I'm coming up with one of our stone cold classic cliches. First half better than second half. For me?
Yes, apart from the opening track, which I disagree with, I would agree. I quite thought. I thought Future Love with its kind of a classic 90s indie chorus pedal, shimmering reverb turned up to 11 kind of thing was really nice. And Repetition was kind of, I almost thought was a bit like if you merged New Order with the Human League.
What thought? Yeah.
Human Order. Yeah, and it's a Kill Switch, really good. So yes, I thought it started off surprisingly good, and then it tailed off. But it
rattles along though.
It was
still
surprising.
Still surprising. There are dial up I quite like, very 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, even the title. So I thought it rattled along fairly good all throughout. A solid effort.
Indeed. Next up, Sleater Keeney, Send It Home, was their 9th studio album. This one was produced by Annie Clark, otherwise known as St Vincent. One thing I immediately liked about this album was when I kind of read the running time and it went, it's 36 minutes. I thought, you know what?
Sweet.
I already have a feeling I might quite like this record.
Yes.
Regardless of what the record sounds like. However, actually, I did quite like this record because it's actually very enjoyable indie pop.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, very much.
Amusingly, the first couple of times I listened to this a few months ago, I was walking down the street, listening just on headphones, and I was convinced that the opening track was called Cinnamon Pole for a while. Because cinnamon pole, and it's actually the centre word hole. So classic misheard lyric for a while. I was like, oh, that's what it's called. I mean, I literally wrote down a note for it saying, quite like that cinnamon pole song at the start. Okay, fair enough. I thought there was actually, and this is probably through Annie Clark's production for this, it's a bit Duran Duran-y at times, actually, I thought.
Yeah.
And I actually don't mean that in a bad way.
No. It sort of has that new wave pop feel to it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of Lena Lovitch on, I think, Six or Hurry On Home. There's a bit of a Lena Lovitch type thing going on. And yeah, it rattles along, and you get suddenly it's finished, and you're thinking, oh.
Yeah. I could listen to that again.
Yeah. So, I think pretty good. Although, as has been pointed out by numerous publications since the album came out, apparently the centre won't hold because the drummer quit just after the album came out. Oh. They'd been in the band for a long time.
How long?
Long time. Apparently she wasn't too keen on the direction the band were taking.
Grief.
So the centre didn't hold.
Centre has not held. I just thought this was another classic indie album. In that sort of, not quite 90s, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It has that feel to it. I really liked the Sentiment Hold. I thought it was a really great opening to the album. Again, first few tracks, Hurry On Home, Reach Out, Restless, and then for me, I know it's only a short album, but then for me it sort of tapers off a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, it's, as you say, blisteringly good throughout.
Yeah. Now, the one album that's definitely not a indie or rock album, rock album on the podcast, is Haku Salu, an instrumental trio from Derbyshire, and this album was conceived as a soundtrack album for the 1926 Buster Keaton silent film The General.
Oh.
So there,
right.
There.
It's got cred.
It has got cred. Did it work? Did it work for you as an album without knowing that piece of information, though, Pete?
Well, now I know that. I'll go back and listen again with said movie on in the background. I like what's happened there. It's kind of like the Battleship Potemkin thing all over again. Yeah. I get a Pet Shop Boys reference in every festive season. It's, for me, this was... I struggle. I'll be honest, I struggle because whilst the way you sort of described the album, and certainly from the first couple of tracks, I thought, oh, well, this is the sort of thing I normally like. I normally go for the rather long instrumental album, whether it's Trent Reznor or aforementioned PSB or anyone else that does.
I've got this one mentioned in my notes.
Exactly. So, I'll go for your 4-part epic instrumental soundtrack. But this time, no, I didn't quite. Now maybe I need to give it another listen. But I'll try. So again, really liked the beginning and sort of get some of the soundscapes and the sort of usual instrumental bits and pieces. I mean, Love's Enlist Engine. I felt it was all going in the right direction. But I think after maybe it was time. After a while, I started my attention begins to wander, and it did sound quite intense.
Yeah,
and not in a good way.
Yeah,
so no, just didn't quite work for me. But I can appreciate the artistry.
I love the track.
I bet you did. Yeah,
genuinely.
I did wonder where we diverge on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much so, I bought it in vinyl. I bought it in vinyl 2 days after listening to it.
Now, does it sound good on vinyl? Because maybe
it does.
Maybe again, it's like the streaming service and the earbuds. Perhaps doesn't lend itself to the aural experience.
I just like see what I liked about this is yes, that it's kind of mellow, but I think it's also kind of it's very. I found it expansive, varied, surprisingly experimental because it starts off and you're thinking, okay, it's just going to be one of those kind of soundtracks of just some. If you read the description about it,
Noodling.
yeah, you know, Trio from the Derbyshire Dales. You're thinking, okay, yeah, it's going to be kind of folky type, blah, blah, blah. But no, really, you are. But then you get kind of, and you get the waltz of loves, for example, which is, and that fits into exactly what you're thinking. But then it goes off into kind of like. Almost Kraftwerky type stuff with Train Steel and
fair.
disco beats of Hyde in the middle. And then it goes. There's a piano motif in which track is it? I can't remember actually. That I think Orbiton would have been proud of. In Enlist, which is the fourth track. It's got really lovely piano motif, and it's that. Yeah, Loved it.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting there was. And actually, I was halfway through it, first listen, when I looked it up to find out more information about it. I was thinking, oh, I'm really enjoying this. Maybe I should find out who...
That's always a good sign.
I thought, maybe I should find out who these people are. And then that's where I got the whole thing of like, of course, that's why it's called The General, and why there's things called Engine, Chattanooga, Train Steel, Cannon, Chopping Wood. It's like,
Of course.
yeah, duh. Yeah, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see it with the full
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the film playing.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So I really love it.
Well, I'm really pleased for you. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Yes. Delighted.
Moving on to an album that I liked less than that one, but then again, as you can guess, I probably liked everything on the podcast less than that one.
It sounds like you picked your winner already.
Yeah. Frank Turner, No Man's Land, which is Frank's 8th studio album, and a concept album of sorts, I guess, given that it's No Man's Land, the bad pun in the title of the album, of an album all about women. Mm-hmm. Sung by a bloke.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's I struggled with this album. This album is okay. I'll start with the positives.
Go on.
This is quite a lovely musically varied record, and it's very well intentioned. But it does. It's occasionally, and maybe it's the times we live in. You just kind of get into that. You suddenly get into that mindset perhaps you shouldn't get into. But as it went on, because the sole voice in the thing is his, and he's singing lots of songs about women and telling their stories. I was just thinking, and particularly when at times some of the lyrics are somewhat clunky, shall we say. It was a bit too bloke being woke. And I got the kind of thinking, yeah, I can imagine some people finding it a bit mansplainy rock. Thinking, oh, I'm writing all these songs about people. I've just read their Wikipedia history of them, and I'm going to turn it into a song. So I struggled a bit with that. That said, musically, it's all right. You know, ignoring the fact that Sister Rosetta is clearly Stacey's mom by the Fountains of Wayne. Nika, track 4, great.
Yeah.
Talking about the variety thing, basically a jazz tune, which I really loved. Thought it was great. Mm-hmm. Similarly, when you go towards the end of the album, Lioness, which is about an Egyptian feminist from the turn of the last century, I think, no, century before. It's quite a rousing, rocky type song. It's quite fun. And the song that probably works the best lyrically and feeling-wise is the final track, which is one he wrote about his mom, Rosemary Jane, which is genuinely touching and heartfelt because of that. So I thought it was, it's a solid album, and as some of the critics said, well conceived, but perhaps not necessarily wholly successfully executed.
Ah, it surprises me. My thoughts. I could take or leave Frank Turner, but I really enjoyed this record.
Okay.
So there you go. I actually really enjoyed this record. I really enjoyed the storytelling. I hadn't really thought too deeply about the wokeness. Oh, what a time we live in. You know,
I may have ruined it for you now.
We've ruined it now. This is like we didn't have to think about mansplaining 10 years ago, did we? And maybe we should have. He said, wagging his finger. But I actually really enjoyed the storytelling. I particularly enjoyed the music. I thought the variety, and you just touched on it there, between the different tracks was enough to keep me interested. And I think with that style of storytelling, it's very easy just to be that bloke in the corner of the pub with guitar, doing like, right, now I'm going to tell you a story about my mum. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've always sort of been a bit turned off by him as an artist. But actually, I was wrong, because I actually found there was a lot of variety in the music here, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a real rattle-along album. I don't know how long it is, but it felt... It just sort of
goes quite quickly, yeah.
Goes quite quickly. It flew by. I particularly enjoyed... You've mentioned Nika. And I also liked I Believed You, William Blake, the sort of folksy nature of that. But I really enjoyed Silent Key. I thought there was a sort of a sweeping majesty to the music on that, which I found really, really pulled me in. Very much enjoyed that particular track, with track 6. So yeah, no, I reflect on what you said, and I also, you know, there's a history lesson in here as well. I've picked up a couple of things. It's you know, a bit of a London.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, to be fair to you, you're you know.
I didn't know about the Winchester geese, the crossbones. But I only found out about that myself about a year ago when I was walking past it.
I mean, I think that's part. But like I said, I mean,
quite enjoyed that.
Well, I do think the album is well intentioned.
Yeah,
but you know, as I say, you're always kind of opening yourself up to that kind of stuff when you kind of decide to make an album about how great women are. With the
can't do right for wrong these days.
Exactly. And the only voice in the record is your own.
A man.
You know, but yeah, I said it's not a bad album, no. And you know it's.
Would you feel better if you found out that all the accompanying musicians and producer were female? Would that improve?
They were. Yeah.
Oh, I can't say because I haven't.
No,
looked into
they were.
It.
They
were.
They were.
And they actually were.
No,
all women.
They genuinely were.
Oh, well, that's fine. That makes it better. Surely.
They genuinely were.
All right. Okay. Whatever.
Okay. Finishing off with our old chums, The Whole Steady, and Thrashing Through the Passion, 7th studio album. Although it's an album, not as an album in a way, because it's mainly tracks that they've released over the last couple of years as singles tied up to their various weekender gigs around the world. So I suppose the question is whether brought together they work as an album or not.
Yes.
Yay, nay? Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Moving on.
And
okay.
that's the podcast. No, I think it's... and some of the tracks, yes, I had heard one or two of them before, either on the EPs or live. Been fortunate enough to hear those, because the Weekender doesn't stop everywhere. So I found myself singing along to a couple of them. I was like, oh, this is very familiar. Particularly Entitlement Crew.
Yes,
that's a good one. And is it Star 18, the other one?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, no, this rattles through. I think this is... They've taken a break for a few years, haven't they? In terms of actually putting an album together.
Well, I think they've decided for the moment that this is their best way of not killing each other.
Yeah,
and prolong the thing. It is basically not to tour.
Yeah.
And not to record.
Yeah.
So just get together as and when write some stuff.
Yeah.
And then not worry about doing an album. Just going to go, okay, we get together, write some songs. And then, if we've got some stuff...
Enjoy each other's company and then leave.
We release it.
Yeah.
You know. I think this is a side 2 album, though.
Yeah.
So from 6... Well, although I'd actually probably include Blackout Sam as well, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think the second half is better. Ooh, what? Yeah.
Which is not to say the first half isn't very good.
No, the first half is good, but I think the second half is better.
You know, second half you have Entitlement Crew and Confusion in the Marketplace. Two of my favourite songs.
Yes.
In fact, two of my favourite songs are the Hold Steady Evs thing.
Yeah.
Really like both those. So anyway, Hold Steady, still good. Okay, moving on, because we're trying to rattle through this.
Is that it?
Christmas podcast, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Ho, ho, ho.
3 for the price of 1.
Yeah. All rushed. No thought gone into any of it. So, we've got 2 choices for you this year to try and keep Bublé off the record player.
Stop Bublé.
Yeah. Bing Crosby with the London Symphony Orchestra, and Robbie Williams with, Robbie Williams and actually with various other people, actually.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Including Tyson Fury.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah, I think it's probably best to deal with these. Just to get together and just say what you want positive about these two podcasts. Two albums.
Well, very hard as it is, I actually preferred the Robbie Williams album.
Okay.
As clever as the orchestration of the London Symphony Orchestra is, and isn't it nice to hear them doing other stuff other than classical music and Star Wars soundtracks?
Well, yeah. But you have to think, clearly they were just getting guilty about the Royal Philharmonic getting the Elvis gig, so they're just thinking,
yeah, well,
sorry, we can do that. So, we can get somebody that died in 1977 too.
True, but I think what works against it. I mean, you know, and the
niche joke.
The orchestration. Yeah, I've lost it now. The orchestration is good because you got the classic orchestration, you got the funky orchestration, there's modern pop orchestration.
Yeah.
So whoever's behind the orchestration of this, obviously Time Out from Beethoven's Fifth, and as I say, Empire Strikes Back. It's you know, I quite enjoyed that element to it. I find just slapping Bing on top of it was a bit disconcerting. No more so than on.
That's still gonna be a phrase for next year. Slapping Bing on it.
Slapping Bing. No more so than Little Drummer Boy with David Bowie. Because it did actually sound like David Bowie was recording this in 1970 whatnot, and in the room next door, and it just didn't quite mesh, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I was just like, is that the best you could do? Did you use the version that was on MTV when he comes and he goes, "Oh, Bing"?
Well, they did do that version, but obviously they reorchestrated it.
Yeah. So I thought.
I quite like the Bing thing, but I quite liked about the Bing one. I thought they did quite a good job, considering that.
Yeah.
Clearly they'd taken vocal performances from across his career.
Yes, so there was.
I thought it hung together surprisingly well, and obviously the wonder of technology, I suppose, that you can actually isolate the vocal and do this with it, frankly. Yeah. And the addition of the Papini sisters singing on Do You Hear What I Hear and John Fletcher's Christmas, I thought was a nice touch. Kind of added a bit there.
Yeah,
it was fun. But yeah, as you say, then there's Robbie Williams, who I have to confess, my first thought when I looked at Robbie Williams' album and I saw that it was a double album was no. That was also my second and third thought as well, to be perfectly honest. I was thinking, shit, he's made a double album, Christmas album, mostly of new material. At which point, to be fair, I did kind of go, fuck it, hats off to him.
Yeah.
Clearly going for that. If I write as many Christmas songs as humanly possible in one go, at least one of these is going to stick.
Yeah. And
someone's going to be singing it in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay,
good on you.
Definitely, hats off.
Yeah. So so I did breeze through some of the covers. What I'll pull out Merry Christmas Everybody with Jamie Cullum, because I never thought I needed another version of the Slade classic, but actually that was all right. It was a different pace, obviously. There was a bit swing.
Yeah. Well, the first side.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it?
Back in his swing when you're winning phase.
The first album's kind of that kind of thing, isn't it? And the second album's more.
Yeah.
I'm being a new artist doing Christmas songs.
So this is me doing my Robbie thing. So I particularly enjoyed that one, and From his stuff, Best Christmas Ever. Where is it? The one with Tyson Fury, Bad Sharon. That was funny.
One bad, actually.
Yeah, and lyrically actually quite funny.
Yeah. Although I will say lyrically particularly on the entire album, frankly, I'm sure there must have been some point during the recording of, or the writing of the songs, where even Robbie's rhyming dictionary was going, fuck no, just stop it.
Stop. Yes.
Because literally it's just like every line has to rhyme the line before it. And on some songs you're thinking, no, you literally are just finding absolutely any word that rhymes with the preceding one.
Yeah, but he
not even bothering about.
He pulls it off, man.
It's just, oh my god. But yeah, it's long.
Yeah, it is long.
It's a long Christmas for Robbie Williams.
But they'll keep Bublé off for longer. Think of it that way.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyone but Bublé.
Maybe not. Anyway, that's kind of it, except for more for other thing. Because I can now tell you that following this podcast, we've now reviewed 18 albums this year.
A record.
Yeah.
Not good.
And 7 of them featured in the Album of the Year's
Excellent.
Top 100 as based on 65 critics lists.
Oh, we did well.
Yeah. But the
So
top
it's all
album...
about quality rather than quantity.
Yeah, the top album would be Way Is Blood.
Ah.
Which could see Fountains DC appeared in there, Dave's in there,
Yeah.
Sharon Van Etten,
Yeah, you know, I think...
Slipknot that we've just reviewed, that I've just reviewed.
Yeah.
See?
Right.
See, you don't know what you're missing. They're
So,
the 83rd best album this year.
I think the specials are in there too.
Yeah.
Blimey.
And Baroness, and
Right.
that was awful.
Well, I have to say...
Sorry, that was the album that sounded like it was recorded underwater. Remember, I was not happy.
Yes, I remember. Yeah. I have to say, out of that small selection, I give it to Dave.
Yeah.
There you go. But that was by no means a scientific exercise that involved us releasing a podcast every 4 to 6 weeks.
46 weeks, that's about right, isn't it?
Once every 46 weeks. Hey, see you in 2020. Oh dear.